Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today, oh my god, that episode of Monday Night Raw. Oh, what an experience. What an experience. Oh boy. Triple H is going to get tired of putting out boring Raws eventually, right? Eventually we're going to get something different when it comes to Raw, right? Probably not. Yeah? Jesus H. Christ, this Raw was boring as hell, brother. It was boring. But, it is what it is. No real news and notes to discuss. Unless you consider Karen Jarrett a news and notes, which I don't. We'll talk about that some other time. Maybe on the live stream we'll discuss the Karen Jarrett outburst on Twitter. The show starts with the Bloodline turning over the announce desk and generally just being agitated because they've lost the big tag team match. So now they got to get the heat back. What ends up happening is Sami Zayn starts talking about how a hostile takeover to solve Kevin Owens' fault. Kevin Owens comes out there. He wants to fight. Then the rest of the locker room wants to fight too. The entire Raw roster decides to attack the Bloodline at once, which includes the Street Profits, Elias, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, a bunch of other people who have had no connection or conversation with the goddamn Bloodline in the last 6 months. Decided they was going to run into the ring and get into it with them. Later, Adam Pearce came out there, said they've been doing this for too long. He hopes that these guys brought their working clothes because, they're going to be put in matches. Later on, we see Elias. He demands he gets put in a match against Solo Sikoa because Solo Sikoa beat that ass a couple weeks ago. The Street Profits also want to fight, and they decided to team up with Kevin Owens. So that's 2 of the matches that they set for this evening. And this ended up being a 6-match card. And you already know what I said before. If you got a bunch of matches on the show, it's probably boring. And this show was just a bunch of damn matches. So, but let's talk about the continued overexposure of the Bloodline. They literally don't have anything going on, so they're trying to spread the Bloodline way too thin. If they didn't use the Usos or Sami Zayn on this show, what else would they have done on this show? It's impossible to know. They literally don't put any effort into building anyone else. So now the Usos have to work twice a week. And they're the only people working twice a week. Well, I guess Sami Zayn works twice a week now. Like, that's nuts. Like, you have a 3-hour broadcast, the purpose of which, and it has a larger roster, by the way. The purpose of the larger roster was because they have more time to fill. And then, they would have more people to rotate in that time frame. But that's not what they do. They decide that you're just going to have the Usos on both shows. Which, I've said this before. Yes, the Usos are the Raw champions. But for Christ's sake, they're already scheduled to wrestle on Friday. Over the weekend on the house shows, they had a rash of injuries. Like AJ Styles broke his ankle, and I think Bray Wyatt also got injured at a house show recently. Why put the Usos in a position where they could get hurt? It's just, and nothing matches that don't mean anything. They won nothing, they lost nothing. What was the purpose of them even having that match? Anyway, moving on. The Street Profits and Kevin Owens were defeated by the Bloodline and the Usos, or the Bloodline, which was the Usos and Sami Zayn. There was some odd behavior from Montez Ford in the match. He seemed a little out of it, a little spaced out. Also seemed very serious at certain parts. He was the one who actually got pinned, which was quite awkward. The match itself was fine. Everybody in it is decent to good. I'm not a big fan of the Bubba Owens push, but whatever. It is what it is. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens continue to tap dance around each other. There was a spot where Kevin Owens, of course, was fired up and he was beating up the Usos, and he had an opportunity to hit Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn jumped off the apron, and that left Kevin Owens to give him a crotch chop. And I was like, okie dokie. I just don't see the point in this. It's just literally Sami Zayn just fought Kevin Owens on Friday. He literally just had a match between these two guys. What can I say that hasn't already been said? Anyway, it seems like they're up to something with Montez Ford. Maybe it was a distraction from earlier, with Bianca Belair. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that don't seem to be the case. It seems like they're actually doing something different with Montez Ford. I'm going to let it play out before I jump to some conclusions, but they're clearly up to something. They had the Music City Street fight, Solo Sikoa versus Elias, and I couldn't have cared about this either. Elias never wins. We knew Solo Sikoa had no chance of winning. The guy who did the Royal Rumble official song, what's his name, Hardy or whatever, he kept getting involved with the match, giving Elias weapons, and he even jumped in the ring and hit Solo Sikoa with a guitar, and Solo Sikoa no-sold it, which was great, but this felt like it dragged on entirely too long. This feud didn't need this match. It certainly didn't need this match to go this long. I mean, it's... I'm telling you, it sucks to even review this Raw. That's how painful this show is. This show sucks ass. On a positive note, Adam Pearce, while he was on the screen, he did have a conversation with MVP Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. So they did tease some Hurt Business stuff here. They're teasing it in the background. This is like the third or probably the second week of MVP having conversations with Adam Pearce. Last time he tried to talk about Lashley being sent home or whatever. Now he's which is weird because Lashley's working the house shows. Last I checked, he's still working the house shows. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, nor do I know why. They're just doing shit. But if they want to tease me with the Hurt Business, that might be the only way to get me interested. It also would have been nice if they'd just brought in the Hurt Business to keep, and they're going to be those guys who keep the bloodline in check. Whenever they show up, the Hurt Business is going to show up and kick their asses. Plus Omos. I guess we have to put Omos in there, right? Because somebody has to fight Solo Sikoa, right? Okay. These two matches, chuck them in the bin. Even if they were well-worked matches, I just did not care. I didn't care about them at all. And you can't make me. You can't make me care, so I don't. The first match on the show, because this review was fairly short, it has been amended to include new information. And the new information is that I saw online that Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss, their match, which I was not really a huge fan of, but they did spots from Scary Movie at the beginning of the match. Now, I was wondering what the big deal was about that whole, Bianca Belair holding Alexa Bliss back thing. I thought it was part of the story they were telling in terms of their match. Now, to give you a little peek of what I ended up discarding, what I thought originally was that they were telling a story about the physical difference between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. That, yes, it looked a little dopey, a little silly early in the match where Bianca's holding back Alexa Bliss with one arm and then she kind of does a little wind up uppercut. It seemed kind of silly. But I figure they're telling this story about, Bianca being so much bigger than Alexa Bliss. She can literally hold her back with one arm and all that kind of stuff. And it takes for Alexa Bliss to, find her dark side in order to sort of even things out, because that's how it finishes in the end, where Alexa Bliss is at a disadvantage through size and strength and athleticism. But when you take in aggression, ferocity, the mystical elements of it, with the Fiend change and everything, the Bray Wyatt stuff, then, Alexa Bliss has a little bit more of an advantage. And, she's able to be a little bit more aggressive. She's a little bit more take no prisoners, a little, NFG, for lack of a better term. But no, that's not what they were doing. What they were doing was they were taking spots from Scary Movie. They apparently watched Scary Movie, in which the exact same spots that began the opening match was in a fight scene, and where I think it was a creature from The Ring, it comes through the TV or whatever. I don't know too much about horror movies, but I do know there was a horror movie in which a woman who is like, stringy and everything, kind of like Abaddon, or why am I using Abaddon? Nobody knows who that is. I think it is The Ring, or a television show or whatever, and she crawls through the TV, and the girl fights her, the black girl, and she kind of does like the whole wind up uppercut and everything. The whole damn scene, they ripped it off for a wrestling match. In which case, I said, these people are not taking this stuff seriously. They're not taking this seriously. And I honestly, I don't blame them. I think, I'm sitting here looking like, man, I can't let that slide. That's absolute garbage. That's garbage. Okay. Like, I wish I didn't know that. Like, I literally sit here wishing, like, I wish they wouldn't have done that. I really wish they would not have done that, because it just goes to show how silly it is. And you're playing to the lowest common denominator, which is the very, very, very small number of people who know both of those things, who have seen that movie and saw this tweet and then saw this match like that. And the match itself, because it doesn't make sense. Bianca Belair has never done like the wind up uppercut. Like, it really doesn't make any sense. And then for her to put so much emphasis on it, and then Alexa Bliss to barely sell it, and then the crowd didn't get it. So it didn't even like pop the crowd. It didn't make them laugh. They weren't in on it or nothing. So whatever, probably a producer, put that spot in should be kicked inside their ass. All right. That's just my opinion. You should probably get kicked in the ass, because I'm not saying you ruined the match. You certainly didn't. I don't think people was that into it. I don't think people cared that much about Alexa Bliss or Bianca Belair. This is the worst reaction Bianca Belair has ever gotten in her hometown. It was literally that bad. And they were chanting one more time when she got DDT'd on the stairs. I was floored by this whole situation here. All of it was very, very disappointing. I mean, this was an absolute miss as far as I'm concerned. Alexa Bliss isn't as over as she was a year ago or even 2 years ago. That long lapse of time where she went from being sort of the demon Alexa Bliss to getting married, and she was off all that time, and she's been absolutely in the weeds since she came back. It's just been a mess with Alexa Bliss since she came back. And Bianca Belair has been, just doused in cold water since Triple H took over at SummerSlam. It's been just, she's been sitting on the back burner, and you think it's on low, but it's really not on at all. It's just gas. It's just fumes filling up the house. And you're like, what's that smell? And it's like, well, you're going to blow the fuck up. That's what the smell is. Because it's not cooking. She's just been sitting back there, chilling, playing fourth fiddle to fucking Damage Control. And now, people are expected to care about these folks. No. I mean, I really had meant in my mind that these folks had really put in some effort into some storytelling here. Because, I mean, overall, it did make sense when you talk about the Bianca Belair, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss story. In terms of Alexa Bliss is really trying to get people to buy into the fact that she's a threat to Bianca Belair, and that's what they want. And that's the story that they were telling going into it when she smashed her in the face with the glass. That's the story they told coming out of it, where she didn't care about the title. When she attacked the referee, she, viciously threw Bianca Belair against the ring post and then DDT'd her on the stairs. That's the story they were trying to tell, that Alexa Bliss within her is still something that's very dangerous, and she can, by herself, take down Bianca Belair. That's the story they were trying to tell. And I thought the spots earlier in the night would be indicative of that they would show that, Alexa Bliss is trying, like regular wrestling stuff, and it's not working out because Bianca is so big and strong. But no, they decided they were going to reenact a movie. And it's almost as goofy as when CM Punk reenacts Bret Hart spots in matches. I don't know when this started, but can we stop? Can we just not do this? Can we go back to wrestling matches like wrestling matches and not making them a pastiche of movies that you've seen, other wrestling matches that you've watched at some point? This is not what wrestling is supposed to be. It's a laughing stock. It's not taking it seriously. It's goofy. Don't do it. And especially not in WWE. I know Vince wouldn't even caught it. He wouldn't have thought it, because I didn't catch it. Again, I don't watch parodies. I really don't. Like, I'm not a big fan of the whole, I did like Black Dynamite. I'm not going to lie. That was Black Dynamite is a parody of blaxploitation movies. That was fun. But like all of the scary movies and all that kind of movie parodies and stuff, I don't really get into too much of that stuff. So for me, it was a big surprise to see it, and I did have to come back and say, yeah, I did see it. And it does change. I didn't think it was great in my initial review of Monday Night Raw. I didn't think it was great. I just thought it was okay. But the lack of crowd reaction certainly took a lot out of it. And I did saying Bianca Belair absolutely could do better. But the booking has been shit for 6 months. It's been terrible. It hasn't been good. And Alexa Bliss, even when they were teamed up together, she hasn't been the best in terms of promos. She hasn't been the best in terms of character. Her theme song sucks. There's nothing connected to Alexa Bliss in this. There's just no connection between the audience and what she's doing right now. And you could say that they're hitting the reboot button on Alexa Bliss, and maybe they're going to try to bring that back. But it fell flat on this Raw. I can tell you that much. Didn't work out very well. It didn't really turn out that great. So it is what it is. Which, I don't know. I don't know if I like the idea or whatever. Alexa Bliss, she is just so tiny that it's hard to take her seriously. She's so tiny. So her character needs to be craftier. And I'm not a big fan of the magic stuff. I liked Alexa Bliss when she was sneaky. She would fake like her arm was dislocated or whatever. Like that was good shit. Because it's a trick. Like somebody who is significantly smaller getting the advantage because they pulled a trick, is a lot different than I get the advantage now because now I have superpowers, which is horseshit. It's horseshit and a half. But apparently they're not done with this. They're coming back to it. Who cares? Bianca Belair needs a real opponent. This ain't working. She's been massively cooled off the last couple of months. And it's visible. I don't think the crowd even cared about the whole Bray Wyatt switch thing. There was probably some interested oohs, but that was about it. You would think that the people would have gone nuts for it, but they didn't. So that goes to show that I don't think anybody's clamoring for Dark Alexa to come back with all her spooky powers and whatnot. Jesus Christ. Austin Theory cut a promo. Said that 2022 was his year. 2023 will be more of the same. Seth Rollins is the past. He is the now. Seth Rollins cut a promo saying that he respects that Austin Theory would do anything for the championship. But Mondays belong to Seth freaking Rollins, and they had the match. Match was given quite a bit of time, which, for a main event makes sense. The finish didn't necessarily put over Austin Theory the strongest. He had to hit him in the nuts after a ref bump. Had to hit him in the nuts and then hit his finish. I don't like the A-Town down at the finish. I wish he would change his finisher. I really wish that Austin Theory had a more simplistic finisher. One that made a lot more sense than that looks anything like a go to sleep or any type of move of the same variety. The match itself was really good, though. I think the whole powerbomb thing seemed like it was a botch, but it seemed like it fit the story of the match, too. So it's hard to tell what that was, but Seth Rollins loses to Austin Theory. All right. He's not doing Austin Theory any favors because he's not in any feuds. So now he's beating Seth Rollins. Now what is he going to do? It's like they built to this match. Now what? Where are we going now? I guess we just got to wait and see, right? Wait and see. Oh, boy. The match wasn't bad, though. Chad Gable versus Dexter Lumis in a match. I'm telling you, they need to pay me to watch this. Chad Gable continues to appear on this screen for literally no reason. He is the only guy that has been on every single episode of Monday Night Raw since Triple H took over. And he's lost in 99% of them. He loses to Dexter Lumis, who's also not over, in via a wrestling hold. So it's like a roll-up or whatever. This was abysmal. What a tiring show, for Christ's sake. There was a vignette for Cody Rhodes, and it was interesting. Clearly, they're building up the big Cody return at the Royal Rumble. All right, I'm okay with that. Cody Rhodes. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, because Triple H did it with Terminator or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do some kind of $6 million man thing with Cody Rhodes where it's like, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the skills. We have the ambition. We have it all. We can rebuild him. We can make him better than he was before. And that would be very interesting to see Cody do that. But I'm glad they're sticking with the story that they gave Cody, or what Cody told right after WrestleMania, about putting the title around the waist of the American Nightmare. That story is starting to begin. Good. I'm glad they didn't forget. Unfortunately, they also did not forget about Damage Control. Bayley came out there, called them Trashville, which is appropriate. Then said that Damage Control was born there before being interrupted by Becky Lynch, because she was talking about how she beat Becky Lynch by herself. She called Bayley a fraud and a coward, and then said that Bayley spent years in someone else's shadow, and it took Bayley several years to get out of someone else's shadow, only for her to, a couple of months later, end up in somebody else's shadow. And how Bayley is just being a glory hound while the other girls are the ones who are actually champions. So they Voldemorted Sasha Banks, which of course makes sense, considering she doesn't work here anymore, apparently. And, some people think that might be news. It's like, no, we've been talking about that for 3 months. It's not news and notes or anything like that, so who cares that Sasha Banks wants to go wrestle in Japan? I mean, who gives a shit, really? In any event, I did like Becky's promo about Bayley always being a bridesmaid, never a bride, and how she's a professional sidekick. That's nice. Especially considering I watched people absolutely slander Bianca Belair about her promo skills and how she's not on the same level as Bayley and all of them. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, not on the same level as Bayley, huh? Okay. Bayley has had more TV time per minute than most of the women in WWE right now, and her act is still ice fucking cold. I'm talking ice fucking cold. In any event, Becky Lynch suggested that Damage Control should be breaking up soon, as eventually they're going to get tired of carrying Bayley around. Then she willingly accepted a 2-on-1 handicap match against the tag team champions of Dakota and Io. This match lasted for a good 10 minutes before anybody ran to the ring to join Becky Lynch. And it ends up being Michin, a.k.a. Mia Yim. Just ran to the ring and jumped on the ring apron because, you can do that all of a sudden. And why would it take you 10 minutes to come to the conclusion that you want to help? That's what I'm trying to figure that part out. Like, I was sitting here the whole time like, man, if I'm getting my ass beat by two, they're supposed to be world-class athletes. If you're getting your ass beat by two world-class athletes and somebody decided, I'm going to wait 10 minutes, were you not in the building? Were you in catering? You were in the bathroom, brushing up on what? Your Korean? Making sure your hairline was straight? Like, what are you doing? It took you 10 minutes to get from, what the fuck? And then she loses. So she went through being the conquering hero, got no reaction for being the conquering hero, by the way, because nobody recognized her music. She came in there, she worked the entire match, well, the rest of the match. She missed like the first 5 to 10 minutes. Then she's the one who gets beat because Damage Control has to win. Again, completely unnecessary. You could have just had them jump Becky Lynch in the aisleway and then had Mia Yim help her. That's all you really had to do. You didn't have to go through all this, and she had to take a pin. You didn't have to do none of this. God damn it. This sucks. Like, if you're Becky Lynch, do you really want Michin to have your back? Not only did it take her 10 minutes to figure out she wants to help you, but then when she does decide to help, she gets pinned. You're not helpful. You're a fucking albatross at this point. It's like a toddler waddling into the middle of the street. Like, I'm helping. You're like, you're not helping. You're in the way. If you're gonna help, fucking help. Should hit her with some chairs or something like that. Brought a weapon and chased them off or something. I don't know. That's the thing. And Michin's supposed to be crazy. Why isn't she crazy? Ain't that what it's supposed to be? She should be like I don't know. I guess you got the Nikki Cross gimmick already. But it would be good if she actually had a personality, but she doesn't. So that's very unfortunate if she doesn't have a personality. I don't know. Whose fault is that? I don't know. They did a vignette for your boy Thick Boy, Bronson Reed. Oh, that was great. That was entertaining. I didn't mind that. But the star of the goddamn show, the only thing on this show that made me smile or happy or grin in any way, Dominic Mysterio's jail promo. I don't know. See, I don't know if he was from jail or maybe he was just in his 1-bedroom apartment, in the middle of nowhere. But this promo where Dominic is talking about how jail has changed him. Well, I'm sorry, prison has changed him. Talking about how sadness isn't bad, but it's the cold absence of feeling. That's what prison was like. And that prison changes a man. And this is not a game to him. This is serious. He even got a teardrop tattoo. Oh, baby. Cholo Dominic fucking rules. All right, this is great. This is absolutely, positively good television. They could have did several different promos of this where Dominic sitting back, getting new tattoos or something like that, and just talking about his experiences in jail. Like he's been in there forever. You know, like he was in there for like literally 2 or 3 hours. He already got a teardrop tattoo. But that's the humorous part of the bit. You know? The humorous part of the bit is obviously Dominic is super soft. But now he's got street cred. And because he went to jail. He went and hung out in a drunk tank for a few hours. Oh, this rules. This fucking rules. This is great. This is great shit right here. I don't know who's coming up with the Dominic Mysterio stuff, but, you know, they deserve a little bit of a raise. Unless they're the same motherfucker who keeps bringing Chad Gable to TV every week in a duffel bag. In that case, fire the son of a bitch. But if your only idea is, how about we just do weird shit with Dominic? Thumbs up. You deserve a raise. You're great. You're good at your job, sir. You know, I respect your game. Because Cholo Dominic, American Me Dominic, that wins. That's the shit. That movie is crazy, by the way. If you've never seen American Me, you should go watch it. I have it on DVD. You should probably go watch it. It's about the Mexican mafia that runs the prisons or whatever. It's a movie. It's not like a documentary or anything like that. But I looked it up because I was like, I know I had seen the movie before, but I just kind of wanted to refresh my memory of it. And I looked it up on Wikipedia, and you end up finding out that a lot of the people who were consultants on that movie ended up getting killed. Like, the Mexican mafia were so offended by some of the stuff that was in that movie, especially some of like the gay rape and stuff like that was in it. They decided they was going to start killing the consultants, and it was easy for them to find because some of them was actually in the movie, you know, and they were people that are recognizable to folks in the gang. They started killing people 12 days after the movie came out. They just started bumping off consultants. Like 10 people that was involved with that movie, American Me, got killed. Imagine that there was a movie of any description in which 10 people involved with the movie ended up dead. It'd be the fucking Congress to be up your ass for the goddamn toothbrush. And here this was in like the mid 90s or something like that. All of these people just getting bumped off because of their involvement with American Me. And it made the news. I mean, it was in the New Yorker and it was in the New York Post and stuff like that, you know. But you'd think it'd be more well known and more serious. I mean, this movie was mid. As far as I can see, it was a slight flop. Like, it didn't make its budget back. But the movie generally is good. And they should go that direction with Dominic. Or just go full CB4. Where, you know, Dominic thinks he's a thug now. You know? It rules, man. Like, this is a natural progression of the delusional Dominic Mysterio character. You know, now he's been to jail. And jail has made him cold, but it also made him very, very confident. And now he's got a unique character to Ray, where it's very unique. He's not just, you know, Ray's kid now. Now he's going to be out there in a Dickie jumpsuit. I'm telling you, if they do it right, he's going to look like something out of, you know, fucking not Vice City, but one of those other Grand Theft Auto games where they wearing the Dickie suits. That shit's going to be fucking hilarious. And the great thing about this whole Dominic stuff is that as much as everybody talks about how he should, you know, take after Eddie or whatever, he chose they have an opportunity, a very unique opportunity here for Dominic to actually take after Conan. Like, if he starts coming out, Orale, arriba la raza, with the flannels and everything, with the lokes and the flannel. Oh my God. Bruh, do you know how funny that shit would be if he just turns into a Conan parody act? It would be hilarious. And Conan would probably be at home cracking the fuck up. Because, you know, they really close with Conan. And Conan went on his podcast, and he says that Dominic and Aaliyah actually offered him, I think, a lung if he needed it, or was it kidney? It was one of the two. I'm pretty sure it was kidney. And if they were a match and he needed it, because of, you know, how close he is with the family. That could be so much fun if, you know, Dominic was basically to transform himself into Conan. It would be, or the filthy animal Dominic Mysterio. You know, wearing like baggy jeans and, you know, the scruffy beard and everything. That could be so much fun. It could be so much fun. This thing has a wealth of opportunities with it. Nobody's going to take him seriously enough for him to be like a serious gangster. So it's obviously going to be like a parody, you know. So, but I think going Conan with it would be super funny. If Conan got any like extra gear, like any of those oversized flannels, if he still has them, or if he doesn't even still have them, they should be easy to find. For him to wrestle in that would be fantastic. It would be a great little homage to Conan. And it would be funny. It would be fucking funny. So we're looking to dress Dominic in something because we don't know who Dominic is. So we're not sure. Like, he's just been Rey Mysterio's son for, you know, his whole life. So now we're trying to look for a different identity for him. Him being Baby Ray isn't working because he's not fluid enough in the ring. He's not good enough at, you know, Lucha Libre to be Baby Ray. So maybe we can push him into a different mode where he doesn't have to wrestle as good, but he has more personality, and that could work. You know, like he'll never get over it, and he doesn't have the athletic ability to be Ray or Eddie or anybody like that. But he might be able to get away with Conan. Now that one he might be able to get away with. Conan was good in his time, but Conan in WCW wasn't, you know, blowing anybody's mind. It was all personality. So if Dominic goes that route, we got something here, and we're gonna have fun with this one. So hopefully that's the direction that they decide to go in. They decide that Dominic is going to end up being Baby Conan. That's what I want to see. He's already adopted the toothpick and the teardrop tattoo. They might not even put this motherfucker in a mask now. You know, like this is great. This is some great shit, man. And I'm not gonna give Triple H all the credit in the world for this one. Wasn't nothing else on this show worth a damn. But Dominic made it all worth it. Because he's a dork who now thinks he's a thug. It's like reverse kick ass. It's great. You know, it's fucking great. All right. That's it. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.